Be careful what you wish for, Scott. Okay, so I'm going to try to make this a little bit fun so it's not too boring. So it's about getting to know Brenda Tait. So who am I? First of all, we're going to give you just the facts, ma'am. So I was born on November 29th, 1962 at the Galt Hospital, which is now Cambridge Memorial Hospital. When I was just a baby, I got very, very sick and had to go back into the hospital. And a lot of babies at that time were dying and they couldn't figure out what it was. And it turned out, thanks to my doctor, that it was salmonella poisoning in the baby food. So a lot of babies had already passed away, but he worked with a team of doctors and they figured it out. So that's what saved me. I was the youngest of 3 children. I came along 16 years after my sister was born and 14 years after my brother was born. My sister used to get really upset because everybody thought she was my mother. And I used to laugh at that because I thought that was kind of funny. My brother, I lost him when he was 40 years old. He had an aneurysm to his heart. So that was a very sudden, tragic thing. My mother was born in Brantford. She was of Irish English descent. She was a lot of fun. My father was born in Newfoundland, and if Lee was here, I would tell him that that's probably the best place to be born. And he was actually a landed immigrant when he came here. Confederation hadn't happened yet, so he was actually an immigrant coming to Canada. He worked in Toronto for a lot of years and then came up to Cambridge. Both of my grandfathers died in their 60s. My mother's father was in the First World War. He was mustard gas and was sick his entire life, but he did live to be in his 60s. And my father's dad, he was in his 60s as well. He was a finishing carpenter and he actually worked in the US and then would come back to Newfoundland on leave sort of thing. Both of my grandmothers lived to be 90 years old. So I kind of hope I follow their path. So now we're going to talk about my education. So the first school I went to was Dickey Settlement Public School from kindergarten to grade 3. I was a bit of a teacher's pet. And when I hit Roseville Public School in grade 4 to 5, I very sadly learned that I was no better than anybody else. So, and then I went to Cecil Cornwell Senior Public School from grades 6 to 8. All these schools closed after I attended them, but I swear it was not my fault. It was not my fault.
I live in Cambridge and there are stories.
Shush, shush. So for secondary education, I went to Southwood Secondary School. They did try to close that, by the way, but they didn't succeed. For grade 9 to 13, graduated with a secondary school honors graduation diploma. Then went to Conestoga College in the business administration program. And of course, I've been attending the School of Life from age 0 to present day and learning something new every day. Now,
that's you?
That, no. Oh, I wish.
Wow.
I look pretty good, don't I?
We love the back view.
So marriage number 1 was, it lasted 7 years, but it was not a good one. My husband was an alcoholic. He was quite verbally abusive. And honestly, I would have thought I was the last person in the world that would let that happen, but it comes on so gradually that you don't even realize it's going on. So it gave me a lot of understanding for women who are being abused. And when people say, you know, they should just leave, well, it's easy to say, but when you're in the situation, it's not really all that easy. So that's what happened with the first marriage. But then I So Rick and I, I showed him this picture before I came too. So we've been married for 23 years. His son was 10 when he and I got together. And now he's married with 2 children. So I have 2 wonderful grandchildren, a boy and a girl. And we've had a lot of pets through the years, but right now we have 2 cats who are very entertaining. Yeah, see you down the bottom. We covered up the stepson and daughter-in-law there with all these pictures, but that's okay. Yeah, so we have a lot of fun with our grandchildren. We really enjoy it. I have to say, moving in with a man who had a child after being with a man who was very OCD was a real eye-opener, because like they would leave stuff places and I'd have to pick up after them. And I thought it was a little bit of culture shock at first, but I would find like a sock in a plant somewhere, and all that kind of stuff that boys do. So Rick had joint custody with his ex-wife. So his son would spend 2 weeks with us and then 2 weeks with her. So we always made sure the teachers were always really happy because we would all go to home and teacher nights together, and they thought that was just wonderful because we wanted to keep some order between the two houses and make sure everything was the same. So yeah, so they had a boy and a girl who are as different as night and day, but both very entertaining. I'm really glad to see them come, and I'm glad to see them go home. Career history. My first job was at Savage Shoes in Preston. I stocked shelves. I had a lot of shoes,
Do you
Grace.
know how many I have?
I had go-go boots and clogs and sandals. Every time something would come out, they had this wonderful plan where you could have it taken off your pay. So I would just like find shoes, and
See, Doug, somebody else doesn't have lots of shit.
it was pretty amazing. So from there, I went over across the road to their office, worked in the payroll department, and then went to Walker Exhaust in Cambridge, where I worked in the payroll department as well. They went through a major downsizing, and so they were cutting out entire departments, and I was just a student coming on. So I left there and went to Pride of Paris, and I don't know if anybody knows what that company is, but it was in business for probably 45 years, and they were a drapery and fabric wholesaler. So I was in the order department when I started. We dealt with decorating stores, designers, that type of thing. Probably the favorite job I've ever had. I got to go to IDEX in Toronto. I got flown across the country to go to trade shows, and you got to go to different decorators and designers' homes. It was really a lot of fun. And I ended up, I was the sales coordinator there for a while, and then I went out on the road for them.
Can I ask you something?
Yes.
Did you by chance work with Jack Borman at Walker Exhaust?
I don't remember that name, no.
Okay.
What department was he in, do you know?
HR.
Oh, okay. They had two different HR departments there, actually.
Oh, did they? Oh,
Yeah, so.
okay.
Then I also, during that time that I worked at Pride of Paris, I also was co-owner of a catering company called Rotary Catering. And we were in business for a couple of years, and then I learned that partnerships aren't always the best thing. So that ended. And I accidentally fell into insurance. So I started working with London Life as a sales rep. Then I went to State Farm. Then I went to North Blenheim as a sales agent, and then into Kitchener to Rice Insurance, which was an insurance broker. And the job that we'll do for now turned into 18 years. 18 years in the insurance industry. By the time I was done there, it was like working in lost luggage. Nobody was happy. Everybody was complaining, and it was just a lot of headaches. So I decided I wanted to get out of insurance, and I gave up my broker's license, and I went to work in Woodstock here at Easy Way Cleaning Products. I was working customer service and inside sales, and they had a downsizing of my position. So I left there and got sick of working for crazy people. So this happened. So I opened up the Office Phantom. It originally started as being sort of a virtual assistant on steroids. And I was able to do sales calls for people, phone calls, cold calling, that sort of thing, and thought that the business would be to help anybody who was in sales. As it turned out, it started to get more into a marketing type of a job. And today, it's really gone into creating content and helping people develop their business personality. I learned a lot from the people who ran their businesses poorly, or who I felt ran their businesses poorly. I think I learned more from them than the people who did well. So I really, I can't say enough how much I think that the personality of your business is critical. People are going to look for you, whether before they even see you face to face, they're going to look at your website, they're going to look at your Facebook page, they're going to look at all that kind of stuff before they'll even call you. So if you want to have a good relationship with your customer, then you have to start developing that right from the very beginning. So that's where the Office Phantom is today, doing that kind of thing. So the services, I create and write content. I can do editing if you have something that you want edited, proofreading, can do all that type of thing.
Write the Rotary Club newsletter once in a while.
Yes. So the business content that I can do, blogs, Facebook posting, create articles for that, LinkedIn articles and posts, website content, press releases, taglines, speeches, resumes, marketing materials, business cards, flyers, anything that has to do with the written word or marketing for your business. So that's the kind of thing I can do. So there was another side of me that loves to write. It's my first love. And my mother had always said, my parents are both gone now, and my mother had always begged me to do something with my writing. So part of the business that I've never really talked about too much, but that in the new year, I'm going to try and start marketing a lot better, is Your Sentiments Exactly. It's another side to the business, and it's custom poetry that's written for the person that you're going to give it to. So when John gets in trouble with his wife and he's not sure what to do, we can write a poem about her that is specifically about her.
I'm gonna be #1 customer.
So that works for wedding invitations, speeches, eulogies, that kind of thing. I know I had a gentleman who was the father of a bride and he wasn't comfortable with speeches. So I wrote a poem and he told me all about his daughter, and then he just read the poem at the wedding, and that made him more comfortable. It's a really difficult thing to try and get across to people, the impact that it has, until somebody buys one and gives it to someone, because then they get it. They're not expecting that it's going to be so personal. And so it's really exciting when I hear, how excited people were when they got one. So that's the side, that part of it I really love. And I had the amazing experience of writing a poem for Michelle Romano from Dragon's Den.
Yes.
So she came to the Small Business Center, had what they call a Bridges to Better business event, and she was the speaker. And so I got together with 2 other businesses, small businesses, Big Ass Slabs, who gave us the wood, and a digital printing company in Tavistock. And he did the laser engraving on the wood, and then I wrote the poem. And she said it was probably the most personal gift she's ever got. She really liked it.
Actually, Brenda, you may not know this, but we've got a relationship with, is it Lauren Brown from the curling club?
That's right. Yes.
That's who did the engraving.
Larry Brown?
Larry Brown.
Larry
yeah.
Brown, yeah,
He did the engraving on that.
you did a beautiful job.
They often host us at the, when we go to the lawn bowling.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so a dragon has one of my poems, so that's kind of exciting.
So at the end of the year, when I leave, guys, you can do something with this.
Is that the second gavel?
Yes.
Okay.
So I also work at the Small Business Center, and how this came about was, as the office phantom, I was talking to the manager of the Small Business Center one day, and there was a program they were starting called Digital Main Street, which was going to clients and letting them know that there was a grant available for increasing your online presence. So I got a contract with them and was working part-time with them. And then they renewed the contract the next year and the next year. And now I'm on full-time hours with them and still running my business, but I'm still on contract. So my hope is that one day I will be an employee and then I can still have my business, but that remains to be seen. There's a lot of crap going on right now. So the first position I have is a small business advisor. I'm actually a small business consultant now, they call it. I worked in the COVID recovery virtual advisor. So what happened was the government got a lot of these small business centers together, and they gave them a grant for money to go out and help people recover from COVID, whatever we could do for businesses to help them recover. So we met once every 2 weeks and we talked about all the struggles everybody was having. Then we went out and saw clients. We came back and we put in a report every month to let them know how many people we'd seen and how many people we helped. And we just got an email, actually it ended end of September, and we just got an email the other day that we hit all of our targets. So the government was really happy about that. Digital Main Street administrator and the digital squad leaders. So we have some kids that have worked for us through the summer, some university students, and very, very smart kids. And they were our digital squad. So they were able to help clients as well as me going out and talking to them. And then I do all the administration work in behind. We have a community outreach program called SBC Live. So the object of that is to visit every municipality within the county once every 2 weeks so that everybody is getting represented equally. And we can let the mayors know that we've been to all the small businesses. And then if the mayors have any concerns, they come to us and let us know if there's somebody they'd like us to go and see. So we've kind of set that up with them. And the marketing and social media advisor there. Anybody wanting marketing help or social media help usually gets an appointment with me. And I'm the summer company facilitator. So every summer they have 7 students that they have come in, they start a business, and then I work with them every week and they fill out their hours that they've worked on their business. We do training with them, teach them how to run a business. And then at the end of August, beginning of September, they can either keep going with their businesses or close them up. Most of them keep going, and then there's a grant that they get for that. So what are my passions? Music is a huge passion of mine. I actually met Rick through his parents, who hosted a Friday night jam in Drumbo for 30 years. And it was just any musician could go in and sit down and play. And it was mostly country and bluegrass music. And that's how I met him. And he plays mandolin. I can play guitar, banjo, trombone, flute, piano, organ, I don't know, a bunch of stuff, and really enjoy music.
So there's the entertainment for our next party. Like,
I didn't
you can
say-
play them all at once.
I didn't say I did it well. I just said I did it.
Hey, all that was I'll take for you.
And my favorite instrument though is the stand-up bass. So we have one of those that have belonged to Rick's dad. And so I play that as well. So writing obviously is a huge part of my life. I am currently starting to write a book, so we'll see how that goes. Public speaking. So I have a character that I do called Jezebel Pepper, who was on a Rogers TV show. There was a show called Women of Courage, and it would talk about a woman's story. A girl would be interviewed about her life and the trials and the challenges and how they overcame it. And at the end, Jezebel, who's a very flamboyant character with big hats and feather boas, would come out and give a little talk. And that was me. And so through that, I actually ended up getting to twice be the MC for Yuck Yucks Night at the Quality Hotel. So that was kind of fun. Cooking, I love to cook, I love to read, and I love to be out in nature. So some of the volunteer experiences I've had, I've been on the board of directors for Christ Anglican Church in Ayr, St. John's Anglican Church out in Eastwood, the Ayr Paris Kinsman Band. I was in the Ayr Paris Band for probably 8 years or so. We went to Germany. It was wonderful. We had a great time with the band. For the Insurance Brokers Association of the Waterloo Region and for Oxford Women in Networking. I've been on the committee for the International Women's Day event that they have out at the Quality Hotel. Been a fundraising volunteer for Power of Hope, which is pajamas for children at Christmas time, and about a fundraising volunteer for the Team Sham Breast Cancer Awareness for Young Women. And I was also co-host of a Women in Motion annual conference that we started a few years ago and then haven't been able to have since because of COVID, but it will come back.
Can I just?
Yes.
Interrupt for a second? You can add one more thing in the fundraising for Fish Fry for Rotary.
Oh yes, I can do that, can't I? Yes, yes.
Yeah.
See, that's so new. So this is my passion. This is where I want to go in the future. I don't know how to explain this, but I've always said I don't really write anything. It kind of comes through me. It's like I kind of get it and just spit it out. So one day I was at my cousin's house and I got this thing that said, pick up your phone. And I picked up my phone and started writing a poem. And it was just like coming out of me. And I'm like, wow, look at me go. It was puking out. And after it was done, I thought, wow, I need to share this with the world. So I actually took the poem, had it copyrighted. And now I would like to, in the future, this is where I would love to go. I would like to be able to have a course, workshops for women to help women. So the girl, we knew her once when she was very young, before the world told her she wasn't enough. She is the woman who has experienced the challenges life has thrown at her and risen above them. She has stumbled, fallen, got back up and carried on. She has learned to love herself and understands that she is a strong, loving person. She has set healthy boundaries, learned how to be kind to herself and become exactly who she wants to be. Age doesn't matter because her journey is always evolving. Some days we are the girl and some days we struggle. The one thing we have in common is that we were always trying to improve ourselves. Together, we can take this journey by sharing our stories and experiences. We can become women who aren't afraid to be straight shooters, savvy in business, or active in our communities, all while spreading positive energy and uplifting each other. Grow with me and reawaken the power there waiting for you as you become the girl. So that is what I would like to do going forward. So I thought I would read you the poem since poem has meant a lot because I actually have a tattoo of the girl on my wrist. So I am the girl who wanted to please. I am the girl who loved to climb trees. I am the girl who didn't fit in. I am the girl who never was thin. I am the girl who seemed to be tough, but I am the girl who was never enough. Yet I am the girl who grew up to see that I am the girl that truly loves me. I am the girl who's grown up strong. I am the girl who knows right from wrong. And I am the girl who now understands that I am the girl who can meet life's demands. For I am the girl whose heart's full of love, and I am the girl who gets strength from above. So I am the girl who's going to be fine, and I am the girl who'll age like fine wine. For I am the girl who's not second rate, and I am the girl who's in charge of my fate. So I am the girl you better treat well, for I am the girl who's been through enough hell. Yes, I am the girl you'll love and admire, and I am the girl you will surely desire. For I am the girl with the light in her eyes, and I am the girl who is patient and wise. So I am the girl that is worth it, you see. Yes, I am the girl. Now come and get me.
Wow. Did you put that on the dating site?
Yeah. And that's it. So
Very well.
I don't know if anybody.
Excellent.
Question.
Yes,
Okay, go back to the phantom. How long you been in the business?
since 2017. Yes.
Going back in the memory, you said you had Rain Tree. You called your business Rain Tree, the carpet business.
Yes.
Where this name came from and why Rain Tree?
We picked Rain Tree because we wanted something that seemed green and ecology friendly. So we thought about the rainforest. So that's kind of how we came up with it, was Rain Tree.
When you shared with us that you were in the insurance business for almost 20 years of your life.
Yeah.
Were you like mutual fund salesperson, or were you like the car and house?
So I did home and auto. I didn't do mutual funds, but I did. They had other kinds of funds that we could sell. You had to have a special mutual fund license, and I wasn't really excited about that. So it was mostly home and auto, and a little bit of commercial, and life in the beginning, which was a really tough sell because you had to sell them on the fact that they needed it first, and then you had to sell it. So at least home and auto insurance, everybody has to have it. So yeah, that was a lot easier.
Your poem was absolutely beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
Can I suggest that maybe in another year, or when the time is right, to write a poem about you as a Rotarian?
Oh, that's a good idea.
Well, that could be dangerous, Scott.
No, but I think with all of your skills and varied experiences, I think you will be the Rotarian too.
Yeah, that would be fun to do.
And you know what? Get it published. Send it to Rotary magazine.
Okay.
Yeah, this one.
Yeah, the girl.
On behalf of the group here, small but mighty group, Brenda, thank you so much for such an interesting and fun-filled presentation. I know you said at the start you were going to try and make it fun. You most certainly did. And I knew a bit about you, but I certainly didn't know all of that information about you. And I got thinking, my goodness, I should have had you create an image for my business years ago. There's a lot of days when it's not fun when the bank manager's knocking on your door. So anything you could do to flower up the financial statement would also be a help. But thank you so much for going to all that extra effort on our behalf. And hopefully we'll be able to share the recording of that with some of your other Rotary friends. And thank you just so much. And also thank you for what you're already doing for Rotary and our club. You've pitched in with 3 hands almost. And John has already alluded to the fish fry. Thank you so much for shoring up that, because we know we had a lot of challenges in that with the COVID and all the other arrangements, but you hung in there and helped the other members of the team to bring it through to a great success. So
Thank you.
thank you for all that you're doing and that you hopefully will do.
And Peter knows I cook a mean hot dog, right?